Welcome to a special live edition of, I guess we'd say live pod by the Bay here. Breaking news edition. News has come out this morning that USF is set to hire Brian Hartline, Ohio State's offensive coordinator, as their next head coach. Collin and I just want to jump on here real quick, discuss it. If media reaction is any indication, great hire. Maybe they're one of the best ones of the cycle.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing I worry about, Seth, is does he know how to win? Like, has Ohio State done any winning lately?
They want to win in Ohio State. It seems like they've won a few games up there recently.
Yeah, it's been about a year since they lost one, and I think they did win a national championship last year. So, only I guess all right. We'll start with the negative because it's so small, and we'll just get it out of the way. The last time USF hired a coordinator from a winning program, didn't work out so well. That gentleman tried to impose his and especially a guy who had only really been at one program. Hartline played at Ohio State and only has coached at Ohio State since his retirement from the NFL. Okay, that's fine. As long as he doesn't come in here and try and make this Columbus South like a previous guy did, and adapts to the culture of what this program has, the assets that this program has on offer, he'll be fine. You got to build your own culture here, and as long as he builds his own culture with the resources that are being put into this university, with the track record that he has as both a recruiter and as a developer of talent. Well, what did I see? A graphic. It was like 5 first-round picks at receiver since 2022. Like, get out of here. That's it. And they also have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I could throw up. Yeah, if you want to talk recruit, I think that's the yeah. There's going to be some people that would equate this to Jeff Scott because there is obviously the receiver coach angle. The possibly is he or isn't he calling plays? It seems as if, and that was kind of one of my questions: Does he actually call plays? But it seems as if he is calling plays this year. They're pretty much doing whatever they want in most games this year offensively. So,
well, if he's calling plays this year, he's undefeated as a play caller.
Yeah, he's doing well. Right. So, Jeff Scott did not call plays. And then Ohio State does a lot more schematically than Clemson did. But I don't know how much that matters because it's not like I don't think he's going to be the play caller. So I think his hire of coordinators will be interesting. The upside swing of this to me, and this is a guy that it was on our hot board, 2 for the last 2, baby. And the interesting thing with him is you don't know maybe exactly what he wants to do schematically. I mean, you can see a little bit of Ohio State, but you will have different style team here. You're not going to have kind of the overwhelming talent, I don't think. Now, maybe in terms of your conference, you could, but his recruiting prowess. So I just want to throw up real quick his all-time recruit list here. Now, again, one of the prereqs was, and one of my things prereqs was kind of all right, recruiting at a lower level, just because it's not going to be as easy. But this is his all-time top commits list. Number 1 player in the nation, number 4 player in the nation, number 3 player in the nation, number 6 player in the nation, number 10 player in the nation. Number 10 player in the nation, 23, 28. I mean, and these are all – we just hit a 4-star with Brandon Ennis, who's like 10th down the list there. So the dude can recruit, especially at the receiver position. I think the big swing – it's a big swing, I think, because he's not been a head coach before. Now, you've heard some people say he's ready. He was really he seemed to be in the mix for a long time at Penn State. And I don't know if that was just his agent doing a really good job or if he was really in the mix there. But his name, every time the Penn State would update a hot board, his name would come up. Penn State might have to find that Joe Paterno statue and put it on the sideline next year at this rate. So that's a whole separate discussion. But I think the real high upside or the real interesting part here, to me, is his ability to recruit, coupled with USF saying we're spending up to the cap and revenue share. So you're going to give probably, I would imagine he would instantly be the best recruiter in the conference, and he's going to have the most money in the conference.
Right.
Those things usually go hand in hand pretty well together. So, that's, I think, the high upside. You're going to have, I would imagine, really talented teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have the largest budget in the G5 for recruiting, and you're getting a guy who has just, I mean, look at that list. It's absurd. And he'll be in the same stadium as Buka now. I mean, this seems like an absolute grand slam. I'm like asking people, that might know, like, red flags, anything we need to worry about here, and I haven't heard anything yet that gives me like too much concern, or any kind of downside. It's just home run, crushed it. And here's the thing, like, if this doesn't work out, the process was good. You know what I mean? This is the epitome of good process. If a bad outcome happens, and I would certainly hope and pray that it doesn't, but if it doesn't, that's okay, because the process here was good. USF identified one of the best coaches available in the market, and went out and got him. And yeah, how long he stays, we'll deal with that later. The trick is to keep the train rolling right now. You have a new stadium in 2027, and you want to be winning when you open that stadium, and to help change the brand of your campus, and your entire identity as an institution. And to do that, you just went out and hit a home run hire to lead you into that next phase. So I'm beyond excited.
What are your thoughts in terms of, this was when kind of putting the extensive hot board. I can't take too much of a victory lap because I do put a lot of names on there, but that's kind of my list of guys that I would think would be good hires, or I'd be interested in talking to. So he was on there. But there was kind of, when putting that together, there was kind of a mix in my head of, okay, do you want to take a big upside swing and maybe the home run hire initially, but not a ton of head coaching experience, or do you want to get somebody that's going to be solid and set you a nice floor? Basically, is this a floor or ceiling hire? Was kind of my question going into it. Because do you want the high floor to make sure you maintain winning as the next kind of bout of realignment comes up, or do you want to take that big swing and maybe really elevate yourself? It seems like they went for the ceiling hire here, for sure.
For sure, and I think that was probably the wise decision. USF's accomplished everything except the one thing that really wants to do, which is play the conference championship game. And to get to that point, you gotta swing big. There's not a lot of reward in current college athletics for 8-4, 9-3, and not taking home championships. And that's not just at the G5 level; that's at the P4 level as well. So, to me, this is a signal that USF is serious. They want to win. They want to be in position when the next realignment round comes, that they are one of, if not the premier program in the group of five, and that they can get on the other side of the wall when the TV contracts come up about 2030. And this is another step on that path, and I think it's a big one. Seth, my question for you is as someone who follows recruiting only by stars and doesn't actually watch any of these kids anymore, and I used to watch recruiting tape and things like that, and I used to have to talk to the kids. I used to have to like DM them and be like, hey, where do you want to go to college? And it's like super creepy when you're in your 30s and asking like 16-year-old kids where they want to go to college. But now that I don't do that anymore, it seems like USF is still signing kids this morning. Any ideas how this is going to impact, any sort of freshman? I mean, the transfer portal is the transfer portal. That's just a whole separate kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But how would this affect recruiting this morning?
I'd imagine the receiver recruits are pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems, it's funny. You kind of look at some of these jobs, like Florida's just hired the head coach, but they've got a bunch of kids signing today. And as of right now, their class is rated above Florida State's. So without a coach, really. So I think the collectives do a lot of the end of game recruiting here. So that's my guess. I don't know about you at USF, but it seems like a lot of these jobs, the collectives, once the coach is out, are kind of driving the recruiting and that kind of thing. So I was on with Jay Retro yesterday, and I talked to them kind of. You saw a lot of kids leave the class, I think partially because you're looking for kind of that guarantee of a scholarship, a spot, and maybe a little money, right? And there's no guarantee without the head coach there that you're going to get that. Now, maybe the kids that signed today, maybe they just love USF, and that's the place they want to be. It's very possible, that they just want, hey, I just want to be a Bull. Great. It's possible they have, possibly talked with the collective and have a deal in place that they like and are happy with, and that's going to get honored regardless. There's also, we've seen it before where these coaching change happen and these guys sign and then they just hit the transfer portal when it opens the next time. So I think it's somewhat low risk if you have a spot to go ahead and sign on the dotted line if that's a place you like. And it's very possible with how quick this came together that they talked with the AD and the AD said, hey, this is who we're looking at and we're probably going to get it signed up. And those guys were pretty comfortable with it. So I don't have any knowledge of that, but that's not something that's uncommon for ADs to reach out to recruits and say, hey, this is the direction we're going.
That would be pretty crazy if Rob Higgins is out there telling them, hey, I think we got Brian Hartline. And
I just say we might have a coach on Wednesday. We're feeling pretty good on Wednesday. Maybe we're feeling pretty good. We're gonna have a coach. I don't know. So
give us till at least like 10:30 on Wednesday before you send your facts in.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this is exciting. Coordinator wise, we are of course doing this on the fly, folks. Let's do the staff directory thing at Ohio State and see who might be on that list to come down here. Obviously the coaching tree of Ohio State University is probably as extensive as any in the country.
Somebody that he worked with last year just became available.
Who?
Chip Kelly.
Oh my God, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Like, as an Eagles fan, like I was the last guy on Chip Kelly Island in Eagles fandom. But after what we saw with the Raiders, oh man, like, oh my God,
it was pretty bad.
Oh my God, like, just can you just run in the blur with like better athletes in the group of five? Can you imagine? Can you imagine running blur? Like, oh my God.
Joseph Brennan here did bring up a name that's the linebackers coach there, James Laurinaitis.
We're wrestling fans, so we care more about the Laurinaitis name, not because of the football branding with it, but yeah.
So he's the linebackers coach there. It could be a possibility if you're looking at guys that are there. I think a lot of times you want to look at the kind of the off the field guys when they make these moves. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm looking through their list now to see if any names kind of pop out on their analyst jobs. Also, I mean, the other big difference between him and I think the Jeff Scott thing that people are bringing up is Hartline did play in the NFL for 5 years, I think. So maybe 6 seasons, possibly.
Yeah, I think
so he's been around a little bit more and been around a little bit more scheme. And it's not like he was under one coach. Scott was pretty much under Dabo, and kind of that was pretty much it. So he's been under a little bit more and worked with a few more guys. So his brother is is an offensive quality control coach at Kentucky, and is apparently did a ton of work with their quarterback Cutter Boley, who had a really good year. Now I'm assuming. I don't think Boley would leave because Will Steinheier, but maybe his brother might be a guy from Kentucky that would come over. Mike Hartline played quarterback at Kentucky and has been working there, and apparently was working really closely with with Cutter Boley, who had a really good year this year.
So I'm looking at, first of all, money wise, I think Hartline will be fine. Looks like he earned about 16 million, 18, closer to 18 million in his NFL career. Did get to a second contract with the Dolphins. Was terminated 2 years into a 5-year deal. Signed for 5 years, 30 million, almost 31 million, but only actually got 12.5 of it before being cut. So yeah, financially, I guess he's in a position where he can probably maybe not like have to jump to whatever job. And I wonder if that played a factor in him, not either waiting for Penn State or anything like that. Like if you're financially, okay, that's also checking.
Well,
He was making 1.6 million at Ohio State. It looks like.
this was my big question, kind of when thinking through this job, talking through it a little bit, is how it would be viewed kind of by these guys that are the big name coordinator guys, because it's obviously not a power four job. It's not, one of the P2 jobs, head coaching job, but it is a job where you're going to spend more and invest more than anybody you play just about. And you're in a very good area for recruiting. It seems like a job where you can instantly come in and win if you have your stuff together and you still have playoff access for a little while longer. So it's a job that, because Glenn Schumann was another name kind of mentioned. He's been waiting around for the right job. And you thought, okay, well, maybe basically if I can tell you, hey, you can come here and be in Florida and you're going to have the ability to have the best roster in your conference. And oh, by the way, all these guys just got hired out of this conference to SEC. You got 2 guys going to SEC jobs or 3 guys going to SEC jobs and one going to the Big 12. So, it's not, you don't want to pitch yourself as a stepping stone, but basically, hey, your first head coaching job, you can get your feet wet as a head coach. Not a bad spot to do that. And it seems like that could be it. Now, right guy, maybe you could grow long term and potentially make that move into a bigger conference. But that's kind of was where I was really interested to see where people viewed it. And I think I'd imagine that's how Hartline views this as a job. He can come in and win right away, get his head coaching experience, and then, if he can grow with the program or grow beyond it. But it'll be it'll be interesting to see. Giving that guy more money than everybody is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, what are we guessing here? What do we think? 3.5?
I was talking about recruiting money, but
that's done. That's 22.
That's what I'm saying. Like giving a guy like him saying,
money.
"Hey, we're going to give you potentially double what most of the people in the conference will have." Oh, and you're in Florida, so all right, cool.
That makes the job infinitely more appealing. That's why, as we had said, I think it's the best job in Group of 5 right now, just because of that alone.
If you have $4 million to spend, would you rather have Byron Brown or Jeremiah Smith?
Oh my God! Well, who's going? The thing with Smith is who's going to throw him a ball. If I have a serviceable to good quarterback already, Jeremiah Smith's the best college wide receiver I've ever seen. So yeah, I somehow I don't think we're going to be able to land him though. I think he's probably.
I think he's probably all right, but
yeah,
fun hypothetical.
Probably stay in Columbus for one more year, and only for one more year because he's not even draft eligible yet. Yeah, I think they'll be okay. Now Julian's saying, if he just wants to like a little sunshine and palm trees, you've won assuming you win a national championship this year, like why not come down, have a good time, sit on the beach, we'll pay you a lot of money, buddy. That guy's good. Byram. How this affects Byram, I think, is the number one question of fans. And quite frankly, the answer is we don't know.
I would think this is going to sound harsh, but I wouldn't give him the money. I would not give my quarterback so much a big part of my budget because, especially new offense, all that, it'd be great, but we have no idea what the fit would be. You're going to spend a ton of your budget. You probably could find there's a ton of really good quarterbacks that might fit what you want to do better that you could get for a lot cheaper and then spend that money keeping other guys.
So we haven't done the full film breakdown of what Ohio State does, but it's a lot of win one-on-one deep. And Sayin is not exactly Byron Bound, like bowling over linebackers. But how tied is Hartline to any kind of system?
That's what it's going to be really interesting to see who he hires. and what he wants to do. Because I don't know if he wants to do what he's doing at Ohio State or if he wants to spread it out a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see. I don't. He's been in more of pro style type offenses typically during his career. He may have got a little bit of Urban Meyer at the very end, possibly. I'm not sure. I think when he came on, let me look and see if they have.
Well, he replaced he replaced Zach Smith after the Zach Smith disaster at Ohio State. So
he may have started in Ryan Day's first year. I'm trying to see. Now I know Urban Meyer was still around, but Ryan Day he kind of moved the offense away. Now with Justin Fields, he did some of the quarterback run stuff, but he's kind of moved it seemingly a little bit more away from that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think the coordinator hires will tell you a lot, but we have no clue. He could go a lot of directions. I would imagine, now maybe he won't, but I'd imagine his brother would be a part of the staff, being at Kentucky right now.
Right.
That staff just got fired.
So there are some.
He's got a nice clean break.
There are some laws in Florida about that. We've had coaches hire their brother before. I think of Seth and Brad Greenberg. It has happened, and so basically what they do is they have the reporting structure change a little bit so that the brother does not report to his brother as his boss. Basically,
he couldn't be the coordinator, but he could be like the quarterback's coach type
right deal. Yeah, I mean,
which I don't think he'd. Maybe he would, but I don't know if he'd elevate him from coordinator to, or from like analyst to coordinator. A position coach job might be just, hey, you can come be on the field here,
right?
So maybe that could be that's the only name that I think is, I would say, likely or more possible than not. But like again, who knows?
And then the brother probably honestly, he's probably a direct report to Rob Higgins if we hire him, just to keep everything in the org chart, because you can't even report to the guy who reports to the guy. It's got to be like separate. So
it's got to be totally.
Yeah, you got to be outside the line. So it's been interesting. And I think there was one other case where we've had to do something like that before, and it'll come to me. But I remember Seth and Brad Greenberg. That was a thing because Brad Greenberg's boss was technically Leroy Selman. So yeah, I'm excited. This is great. Like, we landed a guy that everybody wanted, but right now we just don't know a lot. And do we have a press conference time yet? Do we know when he's going to be here? They got a game on Saturday.
So that's the other part is
they play Saturday.
He's got some games, and I'd imagine, and I don't know, it's kind of, you're right in between, but you're going to be butting up against the transfer portal here pretty soon if they make it as far as they're going to make it. So
good news is we get a bye. So he would not have to play until the 31st or the 1st after the Saturday. So you do get about a 3-week break there, because Ohio State is, even if they lose to Indiana, they're still one of the top 4 seeds. So he would get some time to get down here, get a presser in, figure out where his office is, find his parking spot, and start to do whatever is needed before heading back for what is likely a 3-game sojourn through the college football playoff.
So he was hired as a quality control assistant in Urban Meyer's last season, I believe. So
okay. Yeah, because he
did have some overlap with Urban.
Yeah, he was, when the whole Zach Smith thing happened, he was the guy who got the paid job. Apparently, that's what I read in going through it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really, I think interesting hire, big swing. I do think it signals that, hey, we're investing, we're taking big swings, because this was a guy that, for all intents and purposes, was going to be a power 4 head coach soon.
Right.
So you kind of go out and go get a guy that, when they kind of, it's always hard to grade coaches, but if you're grading it just on like first blush, you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody that has a higher grade than USF for this hire. So,
oh yeah, this is an A at minimum.
yeah. All right. So yeah, he was with Herb for a couple of years. So, so you got Urban's apparently going to be around Florida a lot, so maybe he can swing by Tampa as well. How about this? This is from Football Scoop here. Here's a nice little stat. I'm assuming this is including potentially, maybe not including. So it says with Hartline and Scarlet and Gray, Ohio State is 147-19 with 9 Big Ten championships, 1 national championship, and 12 AP top 10 finishes.
Seems reasonable.
That's pretty. So, yeah, expect top 10s coming soon.
1-4 in their way. 1-4 in their last 5 against Michigan, though. Yeah,
they ain't on the schedule.
Gotta level it down a little bit.
They're not on the schedule.
They're not on the schedule. Yeah. Let's get excited, man. If this guy's, this guy was one of the most prized guys in the market. He's coming to South Florida. That's really exciting. But right now, unfortunately, I think we had a little better sense of what was going to happen when Golish came, because Golish had an offensive identity, and I think we had a little bit of a better idea of what was going to happen. I think with Hartline, we're just sort of going to have to be in wait and see mode a little bit, see who he hires, see who he wants to retain, see how hard he hits the portal and what kind of players he hits the portal looking for. And then we haven't even talked about defense yet. Does he bring is there some sort of system that maybe works a little bit better? Because it is, you're not going to be able to find the kind of defensive line play and the defensive line starters that you get in Columbus. You're most likely not going to be able to bring those guys to the G5. So a lot of systems that are, 4-3, double pivot stuff probably won't work as well here because you don't have the kind of disruptors around the ball defensively that you would at that level. So do you go 4-2-5 and a little more speed? What do you do? So, but until we know, we just don't know.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. If he does hire from, that is, I guess, not a worry, but if he does hire from Ohio State, you're not going to be able to do the exact same things, especially, I would think, especially defensively. Now,
correct.
It's possible that contextually in conference, you will have a similar talent advantage if he's kind of with the investment you're making in his recruiting. It's possible that is, that maybe you will have a big talent advantage in conference as well, and it'll kind of, you can run some of the same stuff. But I would think you have to change some things. That's why one of my must-haves was, recruiting and developing at a lower level, just because it is a different animal. So that's kind of the only, I wouldn't say even reservation, but that's the only kind of wrinkle here is he's always coached at Ohio State. So he's always coached the elite of the elite of the elite. But he's a really good coach, really technical. Receiver's a really technical position, and all his guys are really technically sound. So I'd imagine the guy's a pretty good coach. It will be kind of who he hires around him, I think, is even more interesting than his hire almost, because it's you don't quite know, like you're saying, exactly how he envisions. He's the play caller, but there was some consternation if he was or not, because his head coach is an offensive coach. So does he want to be different? Is he, hey, this is what I like too. This is exactly, we're running what I like. We're running what Ryan Day likes, so it will be really fun to see kind of what direction he goes, because he could go a bunch of different directions. But I think the one thing that's going to be constant is he's going to recruit really well, and you kind of just, one of the best hires of the cycle in terms of PR. Really, really, you talk about a big swing for your first hire. This Rob Biggins' first hire?
Yeah.
Big swing for your first hire.
Actually, he's hiring a soccer coach right now too, but we haven't. I assume that's not done. No offense to our long and storied, historically great men's soccer program.
Is he going after Jurgen Klinsmann or something like that?
Yeah, Oh, that would be fantastic. Bring in Chip Kelly and Jurgen Klinsmann and just get like all of the just two of the most polarizing people in their
It's
version of
come out of a
football.
time machine from 15 years ago.
That'd be so funny. Yeah, man, I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm excited. And yeah, we'll see what happens, but let's go Bulls.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing is they're taking swings. This is a big swing here. And we'll see how it works out. But like you said, it seems like a really good process, and not being afraid to take a big swing here, because this is a big swing. Could turn out to be really awesome though. So nice job, Rob Higgins, on your first hire. Collin, anything else?
Not at this time, but we're looking forward to seeing what he's got. Going to be a very interesting press conference. I bet you he wins it. I bet you he wins the press conference. Also, apparently, maybe the most tattooed coach in all of FBS. Got the full arm sleeve. Our coaches wear a lot of short sleeves in Florida, so we're going to get the full arm tat the entire time. That's cool.
I did see I think it was Zach Barnett, who works at Football Scoop, say the current leader in the clubhouse is R.C. Slocum for the most tatted up head coach.
Which I was like, really?
Which I don't know which
Is he kidding?
I hope is true. So I don't know. Maybe he's in the Navy or something. I don't. He doesn't strike me as but yeah, it should be fun. I think we'll be back tonight recording with the whole crew. So we'll get everybody's kind of feelings later on tonight. And so that'll probably release tomorrow. But thank you guys for joining us live here to quickly discuss USF hiring Brian Hartline. Good job, Rob Higgins. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.